Okay, so now a little bit about the main body, because it's difficult. Everyone has special characteristics of the main body literature review. Some people have a different structure. But these are like general suggestions on how to write it. First of all, be careful on how many different concepts you use and how you use them. Like if you refer to an organization, you always use the word organization. Don't bring firms, don't bring institutions. It's organization, right? If somehow you want to refer to something different, then that's when you will use a new concept, but keep the same concept all the time. And then it can be tricky, because actually in research, it's the opposite. Like when you read an article, maybe the article talks about management control systems, and then another article talks about accounting control systems. Well, you should be able to judge and think if it is actually the same thing. It's annoying, but most of the time they mean the same thing. Or maybe in what you need to from these two articles, they are the same thing. Maybe they are different from another perspective, but that's not relevant in your study. And maybe for you, it can be the same thing. So then just choose either management control systems or accounting systems, and use that name. Choose, and once that you choose, use the same name. So please be very careful with this. I think in the literature review, you shouldn't have that many concepts around count, and it shouldn't be more than 20 different concepts, because otherwise it's just too much, and you lose power of explanation. The less concepts you use, the better, because you are very clear. This is management control systems all the time, management control systems. This is innovation, organization, all the time the same thing. Don't use synonyms. The next thing is about kind of the same thing, about clarity, but now about the writing. Like, be very clear. Don't claim things like this. Theory suggests. That is extremely vague. I think I gave you some examples. Like saying theory suggests is like saying football players score goals. It's like, okay, but who or what kind of goal or in which match? It's important that you say which theory shows, and then I actually that is even worse, because theory doesn't suggest. Theory is not a person, so this theory intends or this theory explains, or that's more like that. Suggestions is more related to people. But anyway, the thing is that be clear on explain which theory, which study, not just general studies talk about this, which study talk about what, right? And the other thing, another suggestion is that try not to be that descriptive, because there are so many things. There are 40 different papers. So when you write them, don't just describe like, this paper talks about management control system in innovation. This paper talks about management control system in sustainability. Don't do it like that. Do it like, this study from this person or that explores the idea of boundary systems in the context of sustainability, while this other paper explores the same thing. As you see, you are kind of discussing, because you are maybe arguing about boundary systems in sustainability and innovation. And in sustainability, we have this outcome, and innovation, this other outcome, and it is probably because of this. So as you can see, it's more about the discussion and not just really throwing up like, this paper talks about this other paper talks about this. It is a tricky and difficult task to do, but do your best. At least do an effort. Try to give, I don't know, 60% of you in here. Hopefully 100, but I know it's different. So that's the main body. And I know the structure of the main body. Maybe you can start with, that's a good approach. Like you start from big, for example, again, institutional theory. Institutional theory lenses show us that organizations behave like this. They do a lot of isomorphism. What is isomorphism? Blah. And then maybe you care about a specific thing about institutional theory. Like institutional theory suggests that companies also develop like routines, and then they develop their own institutions, and at the individual, at the company level, embedded with the routines from the institutional level. So that can come next. So that's like a kind of narrow it down. That is a good structure, I think. But you can also have, it depends on how you problematize your thesis, but you can also have like a discussion about something like a body of the literature, and then a discussion about another body of the literature, and then you clash them. That's something maybe that we will discuss later when we meet, but these are ideas about the structure, but just to be quick, the suggestions are: be careful with the use of concepts, be clear when you write, and discuss, not only describe. And then about the visual representation, which I think is important, is that try to when you finish, try to put everything that you wrote on the literature review, but in a visual representation like this, in a diagram. So maybe you can think about something like this on the right bottom, which is more related to a quantitative study, like international online visits have an impact on the global mindset of the students. Then if you have a qualitative study, you can also map it like this, like more tensions have this effect, and with less tension, there is this effect. That is also kind of a mixed method thing, like it can be applied on quant or qual. But also the thing that I said before, if you have a qual study, you can also use this idea of the circles, like one circle in the middle, where this is where you are, and then circles around explaining the important things. So for example, for this reporting is in reporting it is important the discourse, and then it's also important the narrative, and then it's important the stakeholder, and then it's important I don't know, something else. So what is important in this construction of this element that can be also useful? Try to think about how to represent visually what you just theoretically discussed. And finally, because I think this is useful for you, I tried to show you the rubric in this specific chapter, the literature review. So it has two things to grade. As you can see, it is the other way around, because the second point is what's actually related to the method. It says like methodology and approach of the literature review. So as you can see, if the methodology and approach has little relevance to the disciplinary focus, and it's basically that you are not being transparent, that you're not showing the quality of your search, that you are not showing how related you are with what you are into studying when you are doing the search, then you will be in here with a bad grade. But if you show that you are very disciplined, that you are also kind of interdisciplinary in terms of the different, that you don't only review accounting articles, for example, that you also review organizational articles, that's good. That is well contextualized. That's the thing, like show that how you perform the search is not blind, is that you are aware of the things that are in there. And the next point is about the kind of the complexity of your theoretical model and how theoretical it is. So the low grade is for a theoretical model that is very limited. And the good grade is when you propose like a very, as it says in here, innovative and highly critical framework. And so this model, if this model is very simple, is very superficial, then you will have like a lower grade. And if you are able to elaborate well, and if you are able to critically construct it and it is complex, then you have a better grade here in the literature review. So that's basically what I wanted to give you as advice and suggestions. And as usual, let me know if you have any questions.